easy money sell to get back into the euro dollar short. Nice break to the downside, very, very good. But context is everything. When we look at the amount of opportunity to be short today, when we zoom out of that chart and we look at, for example, the 4-hourly chart, you'll see that there is starting to build a little bit of an opportunity, because most of this ECB information has already been priced in through the US rate hikes, the various other markets rate hikes, and obviously the ECB on hold. Now, obviously, because they weren't as hawkish as people had thought they might have been, we've seen that extra selling coming in. But how much has it changed the big picture? It's very, very important as traders that we always go back to asking that question, isn't it? How much has the big picture changed because of this big dynamic move lower? Because it may have changed the macro in the euro, it may have changed the macro. When we look at the macro, of course, we suddenly recognize and realize that the macro hasn't actually changed by very much. Yes, of course, it's put an offer into the markets, and yes, of course, it's right that it's probably fallen today. But having said that, as we come down into prior swing lows, as we come into these prior swing lows, into these key reference areas that we've had in the euro dollar before, you can see that the macro value in this is actually not as bearish as the price would suggest. The micro value is very bearish. And this is the thing we've got to try and remember about building macro and micro value in together. So for example, when we look at how macro bullish the euro dollar was from yesterday and even the day before, we start looking at just how bullish it was through this phase here from the day before, coming into 2 o'clock. You say, well, the macro is incredibly bullish, right? The macro is incredibly bullish. Well, if you've got that view of the markets, when you go down into a 5-minute chart, for example, and you look at the day before, is there any suggestion that this would have been the perfect trade? Of course it would have been. Micro and macro both line up, so you're not having to guess about which direction the market's going to be going in. We get this big rip on the euro dollar to the upside, yeah? We'll touch back on this in classroom, guys, this afternoon.